Hey guys, this is actually my first time going live on TikTok. I go live on Facebook all the time, but I haven't gone live on TikTok before, so we'll see how this goes. I just wanted to kind of go through some of the antiparasitics that I have used in the past, and I would love to hear your thoughts on what antiparasitics you've used in the past. And what results you've gotten and that kind of thing. I'm hoping it looked like TikTok will save this for me at least to look at. So hopefully I'll be able to go back and see all the things that you guys say. But I did want to talk about the antiparasitic things that I've used, and some of them may surprise you because a lot of them are just food, and there's a lot of really easy antiparasitics you can eat every day or kind of do it on your own schedule. So first of all, there's a lot of different antiparasitic cleansing protocols. If you look them up on the internet, you'll probably find a whole bunch of them. Most of them will involve some types of herbs or antiparasitic herbs that are kind of bitter, and some of them are 30 days, some of them are a really long time, several months, some of them are a few days, some of them are a week on and then 2 weeks off and then do it again. The ones that I like to do are over the full moon. The reason that I like to do them over the full moon, and sometimes people are like, witchcraft, full moon, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, that has nothing to do with it, actually. The full moon, the reason that I like to do it over the full moon is because that's when, parasite cleanses are more effective, right? And the reason is because, it's because of our bodies and because of the parasites' bodies. Basically, there's hormones involved on both sides, and basically the hormones are the body's signals across, different areas of the body. And so during the full moon, there's more sunlight, which means there's less melatonin and more serotonin in our bodies at night, and the parasites like serotonin, so that kind of triggers them to some movement, and they start procreating and multiplying in our bodies and that kind of thing. So because they're doing that, they're kind of more focused. A lot of times throughout the rest of the month, they're more focused on hiding and avoiding detection, and just doing their thing wherever they are. So they can kind of go anywhere in the body. They can be in the brain, they can be in your muscles, in your organs, in your fat, they can be all over the place, right? But during the full moon, they, most of them kind of migrate back into where your gut lining, inside of your gut. So the reason they do that is because that's where they like to lay eggs. Okay, so this comes back to the reason why I like to do them during the full moon is because they're kind of all concentrated in one place, and they're focused on multiplying, procreating, and laying eggs. So they're not as focused on hiding, right? And avoiding being killed, right? So basically, they're more vulnerable. They're out there, and we can basically, just target them more effectively, right? So a lot of things going on, but that's a quick brief overview of kind of why I do it over the full moon, and kind of the reasoning behind it. And it is scientific. It's not just some woo-woo thing that I made up, right? There's a lot of evidence on it. You can definitely research it for yourself, Google it, and see that parasitic activity is more pronounced and measurable during the full moon and that kind of thing. So it's just a really good time to target them. And so that means we get an opportunity every single month to effectively target parasites. And I wouldn't recommend doing it every single month, but you get that chance every single month, right? To kind of do that. So, so the first thing, hey, good to see ya. So the first antiparasitic that I want to talk about is, it's an herbal one because that's kind of the most, widespread and more popular antiparasitic things to do. The one I have here is called Paragard. I know there's a lot of different ones, but the ingredients are pretty standard, right? It's usually wormwood, clove, green walnut, and a couple of other ones, right? So this is a good blend. There are lots of different ones. I just got this one off of Amazon. I do like the Parify one that I've seen on here. I may in the future, make a blend as well to just make it easier, because I know this step 2 part of my links is a little bit complicated and kind of hard to figure out because it's just an Amazon store where I've kind of put all of the antiparasitics that I've used, and I'm just go mix and match, just go figure it out, right? So I'm trying to make it as simple and streamlined and easy as possible for everybody, but this is kind of the most popular thing that people will do is an herbal blend like the Paragard, okay? I have linked to all of these via Amazon in my step 2 in the links. So basically this one's got walnut hull, wormwood, clove bud, and pumpkin seed. And so each ingredient kind of targets a different either type of parasite or like a different cycle, part of the cycle. So like I think clove is the one that targets the eggs more. So it kind of kills the eggs and flushes them out, because you just don't want to have to like kill a bunch of parasites and then have all their eggs hatch a couple weeks later, right? So it's better to try to target them, as many of them as you can at once, right? And that's also why I do it during the full moon, because if we can flush them out before they lay their eggs, even better, right? There's no eggs, right? So anyway, that's the first thing, Paragard. It's an herbal antiparasitic. I wouldn't actually recommend this for your very first cleanse. I wouldn't recommend these like strong herbs, because they're very potent, and it can actually cause some die-off that can be pretty severe. And I've heard several stories of that. Like people just want to like hit it hard just the very first time they do it. And I just don't recommend that. I recommend going a little bit slower, be gentle with your body, kind of like feel it out. And especially the first time you ever do it, and just see how you do. And then you can always like up the dose if you're feeling great, or do more next time, right? Like you could do it like 2 or 3 months in a row if you wanted to. I always want to err on the side of being gentle with your body, because parasites are nasty. Like they start releasing tons of toxins and all kinds of nasty things, and that can make you feel sick. It can give you a headache. It can make you be nauseous. It can give you diarrhea. It can give you all kinds of problems, right? So you want to avoid that as much as possible. Okay. So this is very potent. The herbs, this is Paragard, but any of the herbal blends are very potent. And I might suggest you save this for maybe the second parasite cleanse you ever do, not the first. Okay. Just as just to play it safe, basically. The one that I would recommend for your very first parasite cleanse, and what I usually recommend as like a more gentle, easy one, is frozen castor oil. And I came across this a few years ago, and I was fascinated by it, because basically if you freeze the castor oil capsules, then they're like solid, right? And castor oil is very like antiparasitic, and it flushes things out of your gut. It's also a laxative. It's a pretty gentle laxative. But if you take it at room temperature, be near a bathroom. But if you freeze it, freezing it is different. Okay. So if you freeze it, and it actually takes a while to freeze, and I'll explain that in a minute, but if you freeze it, it works a little bit differently. You take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach during the full moon, and it goes into your stomach, and then your stomach doesn't see anything to digest. So it's just like, okay, just pass it on, right? So the valve to your small intestine just kind of opens up right away, and it just pops those little frozen castor oil pills right into your small intestine. And what happens is, like in your small intestine, there are some parasites that are kind of hard to usually reach, and they sit just inside of that little valve. And so they hide there. And so they're usually pretty hard to reach with antiparasitics, and they'll just live there. And then the valve opens, and they just kind of get first dibs on any food that you ever eat. So this is a great way to target those parasites that hide there. So basically, like I usually take like 5 or 6 frozen castor oil capsules. But if you've never done it before, start slow. Start with like maybe 2, maybe 3 of them the first day, and then see how you do. And then you can go from there just based on how you feel. But I'll take like a whole kind of handful of them, and it's first thing in the morning, empty stomach, nothing in my stomach. And then that little valve, you can kind of feel it because it's cold. That little valve opens, it dumps it in. And what happens is it takes probably 6 or 7 minutes, maybe 5 or 6 minutes to get into that place. So meanwhile, it's starting to melt, right? Like it's starting to melt as it goes down, and then it's in your stomach, and then your stomach pops open the valve, and the little frozen ones go in. And then right about that time, they kind of just melt, and then it basically bombs the parasites in there with castor oil. So it's really effective at killing those. Okay, I've also seen people pass like liver flukes and like other stuff, because castor oil is really good at just kind of flushing out your digestive system, and not in a bad way. Like it's not like I have to be near a bathroom all the time, right? So that's when it's frozen. When it's frozen, I haven't had any issues with having to like, you know, run to the bathroom or anything like that. Like it's very gentle, it's very natural feeling, and really no problems at all. But like when it's not frozen, so if you take castor oil when it's not frozen, it is a very good antiparasitic and a very good laxative. So if you are having any constipation issues during a cleanse or not during a cleanse, you can always take castor oil, and it's a really good laxative. Really gentle, really natural. So highly recommend that. But if you do take it, be near a bathroom. Like you're gonna need to be near a bathroom, in my experience, about an hour after you take it. So I would just be near a bathroom for the next hour or so, right? So castor oil is great. That's the way you do it. And here is the castor oil that I've been using, the castor oil capsules. There are others, and I'm probably not going to use this Now brand after this, but I still have some from the last time I bought it. So what I usually do is I take a little bag, a little, Ziploc bag, and I just kind of pour them in there. And the reason I do this is so they don't all get stuck together. So I put them in a bag, because that way I can kind of, when I put them in the freezer, I can kind of lay it out a little bit so they don't just all, they freeze pretty well, and I've never had them get stuck together, but that's why I do it this way. And then I put it inside of another bag just for freezer burn or whatever. So I've got like 2 bags, just double bagged, right? These take at least a week to freeze, okay? So in my experience, it's about a week, but I'd say give yourself at least a week, okay? So if you're gonna do this for the next full moon, the next full moon is March 7th. I'm trying to have this set up. The next full moon is March 7th, so definitely have them frozen by then. So I would definitely recommend getting the castor oil capsules now, and then doing this and just throwing them in the back of the freezer so that they are good and frozen by the time you want to use them over the full moon. March 7th is the actual full moon, but usually I recommend starting a couple days earlier and going like maybe 5 days or so, 5 to 7 days centered on the full moon. So that's them. And then once they're frozen, they look kind of white, like they get translucent. But this, I'll just throw it in the back of the freezer and they'll be frozen in about a week. So if you've tried castor oil or you've tried the frozen castor oil, I'd love to hear your comments and what cordyceps. Cordyceps are mushrooms. So no, I've never heard of that classified as a parasite. I don't think so. What do you know about cordyceps, and why would you have that question about them? I'm not sure. I'll look it up though and see if there's anything on that. Yeah, so I explained the full moon a little bit earlier. The main reason for the full moon is because that's when they're most vulnerable. Basically, they just kind of travel to the gut during the full moon. It's based on our hormones, based on their hormones, based on more light at night and less melatonin and more serotonin hormones, coursing through our bodies. It just prompts them to go to the gut, and then they are kind of focused there on procreating and laying eggs. So they're more vulnerable. It's just the most effective time because they're all in one spot and they're not like focused on hiding as much. That's my understanding of why the full moon's the best. So that's why I always do it. I just feel like it's the most effective time. And it, we get that chance once a month. So it's pretty easy to remember. The next one is March 7th. So yes, once a day for 5 days. Nothing in your stomach. So before you eat, I recommend probably waiting like an hour before you eat after you do this. So take the frozen ones. If it's your very first time, just try 2 or 3 at once the first day and then see how you feel and go from there. I usually recommend from 3 to 7 days. Center it on the full moon. So March 7th would be the center day of it, right? So if you were doing 7 days, you'd start 3 days before and go 3 days after. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's how I do it. But for the frozen castor oil cleanse, you definitely want your stomach to be empty. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Like it's going to melt before it gets to where it's supposed to go. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, let's look at another one. One that I really like and that I use every single time is pumpkin seeds. It's a really good snack. See, these are sprouted. So try to get the sprouted ones. They're really easy to find anywhere. I got these at Costco for like $10 for this huge bag. It's a really good snack. They taste good. And what they do is they paralyze the parasites. So I like to use this in conjunction with other parasite cleanses. So basically, like, I'd probably eat a handful of these the night before I did, the frozen castor oil cleanse. I might even get up and eat like a handful of them if I go to the bathroom a couple hours before I actually wake up, something like that, because I want the parasites to be paralyzed when I do the parasite cleanse. But you do obviously want your stomach to be empty when you do this frozen one. So it's got to be at least like 2 or 3 hours before you take it. The alternative thing that I've done, if you don't want to do that, is I get pumpkin seed oil, which this is in capsules. And so I will do this instead so my stomach is empty. I'll take a couple of these, and then sometimes, I just get up to go to the bathroom at like 4 or 5 a.m. and then I'll just run and like grab a couple of these and take them, and then I'll go back to bed for a couple hours, and then I'll wake up and do the frozen castor oil. So however it works best for you, like that's just something that I can do basically. How often do I do this? So I probably average, for a parasite cleanse, I probably average 2 to 3 times a year, once a quarter at most, not every month. Everybody's situation is different. So if you think you have like a really bad infestation, you might want to do it for like 2 or 3 months in a row, just to kind of get them all and make sure you get all the eggs that hatch and all of that kind of thing. And you could just like alternate different types of antiparasitics in each time you do it. Because parasites are, it's kind of a process. Like sometimes it takes a while to get rid of all of them. You're kind of fighting an uphill battle. And I'll talk more about that in a minute, because that's why I have step 3 to my protocol. So pumpkin seeds and pumpkin seed oil are really good. It's kind of an auxiliary parasite cleanse for me. I don't do just this usually, but I'll add this, and it's an easy add to any other parasite cleanse I do, whether it's herbs or the castor oil or whatever. Somebody is here. Okay, so another one, let's see, what else do I have? So I have liquid castor oil too. You can actually make your own castor oil capsules if you want to. You can buy empty capsules in the store. I actually did link to that on Amazon as well, just in case you want to do that. They have veggie caps that you can, and then you get pipettes, like those plastic pipettes, and you can just like squeeze it and then put it in the little capsules and close them up, and then you can freeze those. So you can do any size you want. If you need smaller capsules, just take more of them. This is a black castor oil, so that's why the color is a little different. I usually use this for topical stuff, but if you're looking for castor oil, it's not really ever labeled for consumption, but you can get organic, and you can also get like just hexane free or cold pressed is what you kind of want to look for. So there's no like chemicals that have been used to extract the oil. That's what I'd look for if you were just getting like whatever castor oil. This is just another one that I got off of Amazon. I think I did link a liquid one too. And you can take it liquid. Like if you don't want to do capsules, you can take it liquid at room temperature. Just like I said, be near a bathroom for like the next hour or so, okay? It's fine. It's not a big deal. Like it's not like gonna traumatize you or anything, but just make sure you're near a bathroom. That's it, right? Because you're gonna have to go. Okay, the next one is colloidal silver. So I have this one. There's tons of colloidal silvers on the market, and actually making it is super cheap. You just have to like buy a little kit with like some silver wire, and you put it in like water. So reverse osmosis water, distilled water, whatever, like a glass jar of it, and then you put the little wire in, and then the process happens. You turn on the little thing, and you can make your own colloidal silver very cheaply. So if you really want to have colloidal silver on hand all the time, it's a great alternative to antibiotics and that kind of thing. It can be topical. You can take it internally, you put it in your ears, you can nebulize it, you can do all kinds of stuff with colloidal silver. So if you want to have a lot of it on hand, definitely make your own. I haven't done that yet, but I did get this one. It was pretty inexpensive. This one was like $10 for the 4 ounces, which is pretty cheap for it on Amazon. So I linked a few of these in Amazon on my step 2 in my store on my links. But so colloidal silver, like I said, is a very good antibiotic. It's a good, safe antibiotic that doesn't kill all of the good bacteria as well as the bad bacteria. A lot of people use it as a good, alternative to taking pharmaceutical antibiotics. So definitely do your research and look for that. I'm not a doctor. Don't even say that I, said that that was a thing that you could totally do, but definitely look into it. It's a very good alternative. And also it's a good antiparasitic. So this is another thing that I like to kind of add on to other antiparasitics. Sometimes I just do like a whole bunch of them at once just to kind of get everything, right? And like if I'm going to the effort of doing a parasite cleanse, I might as well, you know, go big, right? So so a lot of times I'll add this in. But you can do it however you want. You can kind of mix and match. And like I said, be gentle with yourself, start slow if it's your first time and all of that. Don't do everything at once. And then if you're having some kind of die-off reaction, you can kind of mitigate that with binders and that kind of thing. So colloidal silver is really good to have on hand, especially if you have kids or if you get sick frequently. It's a good thing to use. And if you have like lung issues or any kind of like pneumonia or lung infection brewing, get a little nebulizer. Those are really cheap on Amazon too. They're like $30 for a nebulizer. And you can just put this straight in and basically breathe it into your lungs, and it helps with any bacterial infection that might be in your lungs. So this is what I would use if it were me and I had that problem. Okay, so I've got a couple of binders here. Let's see. Binders are really, yeah, it's really cheap to make. I think you're talking about the colloidal silver. I did mention that. So definitely make it if you want to have a bunch on hand, and it is cheap. It's just basically the cost of distilled water and those little silver wires, which isn't expensive. And it's really fast too. You can make it in like an hour, I think. All right, so for binders, binders are really important, especially if you've never done a parasite cleanse before, but really you want to have these on hand all the time. So my favorite ones are chlorella and activated charcoal. I don't have chlorella on me, but I did have this chlorophyll, which is also kind of like it's like a detox. It kind of mops up, you know, out there. I don't know. Did you see anybody? It kind of mops up toxins. Oh yeah, that's okay. It mops up toxins in our bloodstream, and you can take it anytime. I like chlorella because it doesn't interact with other things. It doesn't like bind to minerals and good stuff too, which activated charcoal and clay can do that. So anytime you want to be able to take something in the morning, or you know, around the same time you're taking other supplements or eating, I would suggest taking chlorella. You can also take activated charcoal is a very common and popular binder to take. This is the one that I have. You can get it in powder form, or you can get it in capsules. Capsules are kind of easier because the powder is messy. It's very black. It'll get on stuff, whatever. But you can also, like if you don't want to take capsules, you can just put it in like water or lemonade or something, and you don't really taste it. It's just like, you know, it's just like black, right? Like, so it looks weird. But the problem with activated charcoal is that it can bind to minerals. So you wouldn't want to take this. It will bind and make any meds you're taking pretty ineffective, or it will bind to like supplements that you're taking. So you don't want to take it around the same time that you're taking some other active ingredients that you're trying to get them to work. So if you have like, if you have migraine medicine or something, you don't want to take this at the same time that you're taking that, because it would just not work, right? So usually I'll take chlorella or chlorophyll in the middle of the day or at the beginning of the day, and then I'll take activated charcoal at night. One quick story, the other day one quick story, I'll answer your question in just a second, but one quick story about this. Over the past full moon, I was doing Paragard and a bunch of other stuff. And I think it was on the day or the day before the full moon, I started to feel like a headache coming on, and I was like, oh, headache, right? So I grabbed this. It was the middle of the day, but I grabbed this and I took 2 of them. It was gone in 10 minutes. There was no more headache. I didn't get a headache for the rest of the day. So a headache, nausea, all of those things can be die-off symptoms, and it can be like just the parasites kind of spewing toxins, and this can grab them up. This is good to have on hand anyway. If you ever have like food poisoning or you feel sick after you eat something, take this. It works pretty much every time in my experience. So for anything, for food poisoning, for like a nauseous, upset stomach, for die-off, obviously, for a detox, you can always take activated charcoal. It's very safe in my experience. This one has vitamin C in it too. So I think I linked to 1 or 2 of these in my Amazon store as well, just if you want to see a link to it. So definitely get binders to have on hand, especially if you've never done a parasite cleanse before, but they're good to have on hand anyway. Like if you get food poisoning, like I said, just grab this, right? If you feel a headache coming on, it might be some kind of detox or die-off, grab this, it works, right? All right, so those are binders. There's other binders that you can use. Not a big fan of zeolites, just FYI. Also do not like fulvic. I do not recommend fulvic. So I know a lot of people take that. I can explain that later if you guys want me to. All right, so another antiparasitic that's more like an everyday vitamin or like supplement is, and I've done a couple of videos on this and they were pretty popular, is borax. So borax is not soap. It's actually something that kind of helps the soap work better, but basically it is very good for so many things, especially if you have joint issues, anything like arthritis or RA, or like it helps with some stomach issues. It can help with urinary tract, lots and lots of things. Boron is actually an essential nutrient, and definitely it's supposed to actually be in our soil, but we have soil erosion and depletion these days, so it's not in our food as much as it used to be. So borax is a good solution for that. If you're not comfortable taking borax, you can get a boron supplement specifically for ingesting, but actually it's very similar to the same thing. This one's, I think it's sodium borate is what borax is. There's another type of borax that's like sodium pentahydrate, I think. All very safe. I usually make it into a solution like this. So I take this whole quart jar and then I put a tablespoon of borax in here. It takes about 24 hours to fully dissolve. If you use warm water, it will dissolve faster. And then I just use like a tablespoon to a few tablespoons in something every day. So you can sip on water with this in it or put it in your coffee or whatever. So this is less, it is an antiparasitic. It can mostly get to the parasites in your joints and stomach and other places like that. But it's also like a really good nutrient to have just in general. So I actually take this every day. I don't just take this on parasite cleanses. This is a quart jar and I add 1 tablespoon of borax to this. It'll be at the bottom and it'll take about 24 hours to completely dissolve. So, but if you use like hot water, it will dissolve much faster. So anyway, I've had this one for, I don't know, a couple months. I don't always remember to take it, but I try every day to put it in something. And I'll just kind of splash it in. So like if I had this for my coffee, I would just kind of splash it in. I don't really measure, but start slow with this too, because this can have die-off. So I would start with like less than a tablespoon of the solution the first time you do it and just see how you feel. And then you can work your way up from there. Okay. Again, none of this is medical advice. This is just what I do, and it's up to you what you want to do. Definitely do your research. Let's see. All right. Well, I want to talk about, like, all of these things have been antiparasitics and they are all step 2. Okay. So step 2 is killing the parasites. What I don't want to gloss over is step 1 and 3, because I think step 1 and 3 are almost more important than step 2. Killing the parasites is important. Yes. But if you don't do the prep work, which is step 1, then you're going to have problems with die-off and you're not going to feel good and you're not going to have a good experience probably. And it's just not going to be as effective as you want it to be. Okay. So step 1 is opening your detox pathways. Okay. You want to prep your gut. You want to make sure that all those toxins and parasites get pushed out of you as quickly as possible. Okay. So that's what step 1 is for. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can look in my playlist in my account, in my profile, and I've got steps 1 through 3 explained. I've got step 2 explanations. I've got Q&As in there. So just go watch some of those. Feel free to reach out if you have specific questions about your situation or you want a recommendation or you want me to customize something for you, that's fine. But I've put everything together in the most accessible way. So it's just easiest for everybody to be able to just kind of grab and go everything they need in the 3 steps. And just, I'm trying to lay it out so it's like easier. But if you have a specific, complicated situation that you want me to look at, if it's for kids or whatever, please just let me know. I'm happy to talk to you and kind of, talk you through like what you might want to do a little bit differently. Okay. So step 1 is opening your detox pathways. You could do this any way you want. You can use your own herbs or whatever. The easiest, most effective thing that I've found is this reboot. Okay, so this is a gut reboot. It's 3 days. I like that it's fast. I like that it's simple. I like that it's all in this package for you, okay? It is not, I won't say it's easy because it does involve a restricted diet. I do highly recommend you do the restricted diet. It's only for 3 days, okay? It's basically a vegan, grain-free, sugar-free, caffeine-free diet. So it's like fruits and veggies. You can eat sweet potatoes, beans, that kind of stuff. It's only for 3 days, guys. It's just 3 days, okay? So basically it's just like herbs that are in this. It's 12 capsules, I think. And it's over 3 days, and they have a schedule here, like when you take what, and also the things that you can eat and the things that you shouldn't eat. Okay, just to make it the most effective. It's not just to tell you what to do, it's to make this more effective. And I promise you, if the closer you follow this diet, the more effective it is. It's only 3 days, okay? So you don't have to go vegan for a month or anything like that. It's just 3 days, okay? And even kids can do this. I mean, my friend's toddlers did this, and she just kind of made all their meals, and they ate lots of fruit and lots of veggies, and they did great. And her 4-year-old passed liver flukes, and now his anger issues are gone, and he's talking more, and he's, socializing with other kids more and with the family. So it's great. So anyway, I highly, highly recommend doing at least something to open your detox pathways. But this is simple, cheap, effective. This is just the best thing I found. The best thing I found to do it, okay? And actually, if you get it in my profile, there's a $10 off coupon. If you get this by itself, it's like $17 or something plus shipping. So it's really inexpensive too, right? It's just the best thing I found, okay? And you can check out the ingredients on the site rather than me just reading them here, but there's lots of things for liver support and kidneys, and it actually seals leaks in the gut. And it has like a whole body detox, and it's a little bit of a laxative, so it pushes things out too. Very gentle, the gentlest thing. And like I said, my friend did it with her toddlers, and it was gentle enough for them, and they got really good results. So if you want to talk more about that, let me know. It's super cheap. The thing that I like about this too is that it comes for free with the step 3 that I recommend. Okay, so like I said, it's not that expensive anyway, but it does come free with step 3. So if you want to get everything at once, it's very easy. Okay, and what I've done for step 3 is there's some options for step 3. First of all, okay, I just put together some really good probiotics that I know work, and for step 3, what I want to do is after we push out all of the bad guys, kill all the parasites, push them out, we want to replace them with good guys, okay? And this is super important, okay? Like, this is almost more important than killing the parasites, is replacing them with good guys. Because if you just did step 1 and step 3 together, you could still get rid of the parasites. It would just take a little bit longer. But like, for example, for pregnant people or breastfeeding moms, that kind of thing, usually I recommend just for now, skip step 2, because that's kind of more of a heavy duty detox, and you can get more toxins into your bloodstream. But with these, you don't, okay? So you can actually put more probiotics in, balance your gut, and push parasites out without like specifically targeting or killing them. So it's much more gentle on your body, and you don't like get all that die off usually. So anyway, I do recommend for sure doing step 3 if at all possible. You can take whatever probiotics you want. But the reason I recommend these is because I've just found them to be the most effective probiotics. I've taken dozens of kinds of probiotics, and most of them just didn't do anything for me. And so I like the company that makes these because they do targeted strains. And what targeted strains are is basically like, if you want to address a specific thing, let's say digestion, or you have a specific digestive condition, or you have reflux, or you have, whatever, then you want to take strains that are specifically going to help you with digestion. Okay. Like, hopefully they have some research behind it, but they're targeted to those issues, right? Like, you're not going to say, oh, I have a headache, so I'm going to go take like an indigestion pill, right? Like, that's not how that works. Why would you do that? Right? Like, why would you take medicine for indigestion when you have a headache. You're going to take medicine for your headache, right? So this is the same line of thinking. Like if you're going to take a probiotic, they're not all the same. Some of the strains focus on one thing and some of them focus on another thing. There are like millions of different kinds of probiotics, okay? So if you're getting probiotics from Walmart and they don't tell you what they do, then they're probably not going to do anything because you have no idea what they're for, right? And if you happen to get one that helps with the issue that you have, great, that's awesome, right? But most cheaper probiotics and even some expensive one in my experience just never did anything for me. And if you're not getting any benefit from it, why do you do it, right? So anyway, the ones that I picked for the step 3 that's in my links in my bio is these two. One is called GBX Fit. It's marketed to weight loss, but there are so many benefits to this, the strains of this, and all it is probiotics. Like it's not stimulants, it's nothing like specifically for weight loss. It's just strains that have been found in skinny people, basically. So it's not even a weight loss supplement. They shouldn't even really call it that. It's just, it helps with balance. It helps with good body composition. It does help you lose weight if you need to by balancing your body, right? But I've even seen kids get really great results with this because it's not a pill for weight loss. It's a probiotic, okay? And then I paired it with this other probiotic because they're different strains. So when I put these two together, I find that it just is really good at replenishing the gut with a lot of different types of bacteria that will do a lot of different great things. And that way you can strengthen your body, balance your gut, and keep the parasites from coming back. Okay, so that's the goal here. The goal here is to, prep your body, open up your detox pathways, kill the parasites, and then keep them from coming back. Isn't that important? Keep them from coming back? Because what's the point of doing the entire parasite cleanse if they just grow right back, right? So I cannot stress the importance of step 1 and step 3 enough because they're just like, it's almost not worth doing a parasite cleanse if you're not going to have sustainable results. And you're not going to like strengthen your body so that they don't just come right back, because that's what they do. They're opportunists. They come in and they will take over if they can. Okay. And just think about it. There's a reason they were there in the first place, right? It's because your body was the way that it was. So you need to change that. You need to change the environment of your body, right? Okay, so homemade fire cider, a good probiotic. That is good. It is a good probiotic. Have you ever had it? I made a huge bottle of it one time and I could not choke that stuff down. It was so gross. But it is good. It is really good. I like it for when you're getting sick to take it, before that, and it can, knock out illness and that kind of thing. It's got apple cider vinegar in it, so it could have some probiotics and good stuff in it. It just depends on the vinegar that you use. But it is hard to get down, especially like it was hard for me. So I can't imagine trying to get kids to drink it. But yeah, it's really good. It is a really good, potent thing to help if you're going to get sick. And I'm sure it's very anti-parasitic as well. It's got really good stuff in it. So, Canada. Yeah. So step 1 and step 3, that is, the company is Amare and they do ship to Canada. Yeah. And the step 2 is Amazon. So obviously you can get that stuff in Canada as well. Most of the stuff in the Amazon store you can kind of get anywhere. But I just linked in Amazon because it's easy and a lot of people have Amazon accounts. So yeah, definitely we do ship to Canada. Any other questions? So definitely, just check it out. There in my links, there's step 1, 2, and 3. You can see them. Step 2 is maybe the more confusing just because you have to kind of decide what you want to get and mix and match it. Again, if it's your first time, I would recommend the frozen castor oil cleanse. And that's simple. And then maybe you can eat some pumpkin seeds on the side. You can add whatever else you want to add. I would just save probably the herbal blends for next time if it's your very first one, because it's pretty potent and it can cause some die-off. Highly recommend getting the activated charcoal as a binder just to have on hand and for any issues that you have in the future. Hosting a cleanse for March. Yes, I am hosting a cleanse for March. So if you want to come join the cleanse for March, hopefully you're on Facebook. There's a Facebook group where I am hosting cleanses every single month. I'm not necessarily doing them myself every month because I don't do a cleanse every month by myself, and I don't really encourage anyone else to either. So you can jump in whenever you want and do it whatever months you want to do it. The full moon is on March 7th. The group is on Facebook. It's called The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal. So just search that, The Truth About Parasites, How We Heal, and it'll come up, and just request to join. Just put some answers to the questions so I know you're not a scammer or whatever. There's just a lot of scammers on Facebook. So just so I know that you're you, and whatever, and we'll talk in there. And then that way you can also reach out to me on Facebook because it's a lot easier to chat on Facebook. So please, you're welcome to join that group and learn all the things. I also wrote an article about this whole process, step 1, 2, and 3. My website is freedomandcoffee.com. So go to freedomandcoffee.com. It's right at the top. You'll see that there. So there's lots of information. I also, in my links in my bio, I also have a phone number that you can text me. It's a Google Voice number. So feel free to text me if you have any questions. Happy to talk to anybody who really needs some, extra attention, or you need something customized for you as well. So I would love you guys to join me over in that group. Are there any other questions? It's good to see you guys here. This is the first time I've gone live on TikTok. So I'm glad you guys were here. And hopefully I may do this, a little more often. Since it's the middle of the month and the next one is March 7th, this is when we need to start getting all of our supplies ready, right? Just in preparation. And especially if you're doing the frozen castor oil, because that takes about a week for it to freeze. And then you just want to, in case of shipping issues or anything, you want to go ahead and get those things ordered so that you'll have them by the time you want to start. Okay. Did you order the reboot? Sounds like you ordered it. You don't need it for a little bit, but I can check. Why don't you message me on Facebook, and I will check to see if there's like a tracking or something, or I can call the company to get them to resend it if you didn't get it yet. There's been some like shipping delays lately for some reason. I don't know. This country is crazy right now. So we'll see what happens. You can use the frozen ones for kids, but they'd have to be able to swallow capsules. So as long as they're able to swallow capsules, they can do it. Traditionally, in lots of places, they've used castor oil for children. So you definitely can use just the room temperature castor oil. I think in like England and Europe, even like 100 years ago, they would do like twice yearly cleanses for kids just using castor oil. They would just give them a spoonful of castor oil, and it would just kind of clean them out, regularly, like before they started school or in the summer or whatever. So it's a very safe traditional remedy that has been used for kids. Any other questions? Good to see you guys here. I'll try to go live more often. And then, y'all can ask whatever questions you want. And hopefully TikTok will let me go back through these in case I missed some questions, and I'll do like regular, TikTok videos. But it's good to see you guys, and I hope you guys have a good day. So I will see you guys later.